Welcome to the Meet RX podcast. I'm Coach Tracy, and I'm here today with Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
Hi.
Thank you so much for coming to our podcast. And I would like to begin by asking you about your story, your journey on the carnivore diet, but also previously. What was your diet and your health conditions like before carnivore?
Well, let's see. I mostly subscribe to the standard American diet, but I have a fitness background. So working out for the last 16 years, it was basically eat less, train more was what I was subscribing to. And that got a bit monotonous after a while. So then I started eating like it was my birthday. And I did that for a couple of years, longer than my birthday. And then it kind of hit me. Wow, I'm gained some weight here. So especially when I stepped on the scale and I saw that I was at my birth weight for my daughter. And I was like, and I'm 5'1", so I'm not a big frame or a tall frame, but 127 pounds on a small frame. My clothes in the closet were not fitting, so I knew that there needed to be a change. So, yep. And so that introduced me to keto. I can't even remember where I heard it. I don't know, probably on Facebook or something like that. And this was in June of 2017. And I was looking for something that was going to help me with my weight gain, to lose it, my overall just better health. Let's see, adjust my hormones. My hormones have never been in balance, even since I was 16 years old when I got my first period. So I was just looking for answers, and I wanted to just overall feel better, look better, and just be better. And so that's how I kind of started on this journey of that ultimately led me to carnivore.
Okay, so how long were you keto, and did you lose weight? How did your conditions change?
So I was on keto overall a little over a year. The first 4 months, I felt pretty good. You know, you have your initial reset where you're adjusting and everything like that to keto. And, but I was noticing I still kind of had this body composition, like I was still rolled in flour, even though I used to call it like my breading. So the first 4 months I felt great. Well, then because I was working out so much, and I realize in hindsight now, I was working out a lot, like 7 to 9 times in 5 days of different varying workouts, probably a little too much. So, and then I thought, well, why is my weight going up? I had initially lost, 11 pounds on keto. And so I was down to 118. Well, then my weight started climbing back up again. I was still dealing with hormone issues. They were random all over the place. I had low energy. The bloating that I was feeling was to the point where it was just painful. I would eat a meal and my stomach would be so tight that I thought, well, everybody talks about bloating, so this must be normal. And I just felt my overall health just not where I thought it was supposed to be. And I was finding myself just obsessed with macro counting and figuring out what my next meal was going to be, if I could feed myself, if I could treat myself to a keto bomb, just obsessed with food and when the next meal was coming. And I happened to hear an interview with Kelly Hogan. And I thought, okay, well, this is something I've never even heard of before. Like, what do you mean you just eat meat? Like, this is crazy. Okay, let me listen a little bit more. And then I heard Dr. ShawnBaker on the Joe Rogan Experience. And I was like, okay, well, he's an orthopedic surgeon. He works out. He looks like he works out all the time, but he is a guy, but I thought, all right, I think I need to do something drastic. So I joined the World Carnivore Tribe. And I think 2 days later, I started just cold turkey, just got rid of, gave a bunch of stuff away to my mother-in-law, said, I've got gifts. And it was a lot of my keto stuff. And I just started, jumped right in.
Wow, that's cool. That's the way to do it. I think sometimes I that's how I did it also. I started on a Sunday. That's a weird day for somebody to start to do it.
Same. I did too. A lot of people wait for Monday. And I was like, no, I think I'm going to start today.
Yeah,
so
right.
Yeah, like a Band-Aid right off. Just, let's just go all in. And sometimes that works in my favor.
Yeah.
And sometimes it doesn't, but I'm not a quitter. So I just, perseverance right through. So.
Wow. So did you have any difficulties going from keto to carnivore?
Ultimately, no. I will say I was a huge skeptic. So I was only giving it 30 days because that's what Dr. ShawnBaker said. Just give it 30 days. And I'm like, yeah, okay, 30 days. You had it there, buddy. And I also kept a journal because I thought this is really an experiment. And I didn't know what was going to happen. And coming from keto, I had gotten used to kind of keeping journals every time I changed something. But I don't think I was really reading sometimes what I was writing and putting the 2 and 2 together, that what I was doing was maybe not the best for me. So I did a journal for the first 40 days. So the first week, the first 3 days, I was pretty cocky. I felt awesome. I was like, there's no adjustment period. This is great, and then on day 4, I crashed and burned. I can only describe it as, I had the dry mouth. I had a headache that wouldn't go away. I was so exhausted. I describe it as pregnancy tired, where I couldn't do anything. I was just so exhausted. And of course, you have your gastrointestinal issues and stuff. So that was good that was going on until about day 9. And then I started feeling the increase in energy. And my bloat had already gone away. So my stomach was flatter. I had already lost some weight, which I was like, what is happening here? So I lost my weight very quickly. I went from 122 pounds down to 110, like no problem. So I did that. I will admit that the first 20 days, I was still eating some keto stuff. Some habits die really hard, and it took me 45 days to kick my chocolate addiction. I realize that now it was an addiction, even if it was just one piece a day, which never was just one piece, but it was always, I live off of excuses, or at least I used to. So yeah, I dropped everything by day 20 except for coffee, but my coffee is a shell of what it ever used to be. Used to be a little bit of coffee with a lot of vanilla creamer. And now my coffee is mostly coffee with a splash of heavy whipping cream and some salt. So, sorry. No. Sorry, I have someone knocking on the door. Great. But yeah, and as far as implementing, as far as what I eat anything animal. So fish, shrimp, a lot of beef, mostly beef. I do eat some chicken thighs. I like to eat my salmon about once or twice a month. And I do eat dairy occasionally, a lot of butter. And I do use seasoned salts and some spices. And I will say that I do keto when I go out. So I just have found it easier. I will pre-game at home with a bunch of hamburger fried in bacon grease with extra bacon and salt. And I'll eat that. And so that way, when I go to dinner, I'm not starving. And it usually keeps me on a pretty good, path. So it's typically salmon, maybe a side salad, and then a sparkling water because I'm going out.
That sounds good. So how long have you been carnivore?
I just had my 2 year back in July.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm still going. Like I said, it's been a balance. I've been able to maintain my initial weight loss. I kind of teeter between 110 and 115 pounds, but I don't really, I'm on average 112 and I don't obsess over it. I took full advantage of sloth mode during the pandemic. And I was actually kind of surprised to see I didn't have any weight gain. I mean, my body composition changed a little bit because I wasn't working out, but it definitely kind of helped me realize I don't need to be working out as much as I was to stay on the right path. So now being back in the gym, I'm only working out 1 to 3 times a week. And yet I'm seeing strength gains. My body composition has stayed the same. My workout recoveries I'm sore the next day. And then by a day later, I'm not sore anymore. I have my energy. I mean, I'm 42 years old and I run laps around the people at the gym. So I'm like a busy little bee. My bloat is gone. My hormones have completely rebalanced. And I will say I do have an IUD, but for the first time in my life, I actually got to the point where I was using one of those apps where you can track. And I was like on the money every month. And I was like, this is insane. This has never happened, even being 16 years old. And my PMS symptoms are minimal. Again, those are trackable. Usually know a day before if I've yelled at my kids, then it's probably the next day, unfortunately for them. And a weird thing that happened during this pandemic time is I got shingles back in July. And I had the pain and I thought, did I pull something? What happened? And I had the rash about a week later and I still had the pain. But the oddest thing was I've continued to stay carnivore even throughout this entire downtime. I never got the blisters and I never got the scabs. It was just like I got the pain and the rash, and then it went away 3 weeks later and I never had anything else. And I thought, I don't know if that's carnivore related, but if it is, that's pretty cool.
It is, because I've heard shingles are horrible. So
yeah, I've had them now 3 times in my life. So once when I was a kid, I had chickenpox twice as a child, and then I had shingles. And then I had them again right before I was getting married. And then this time, and I think for me, it's just stress is a big trigger. And so again, it was just another wake-up call. And I do really believe that eating carnivore helped me keep that calm as you could be mindset during all of this hecticness. So I don't know. But I will say the biggest improvement that I think I've had overall is no more macros, no more calorie counting, no more food obsession. I know what I'm having at my next meal. Meat. The only thing I would say that I'm probably obsessed with is my love of bacon. They know me at the store. I come in, I grab my entire case of bacon and I leave. But other than that, I mean, it's funny because this diet, as much as a lot of people see it as restrictive, I've actually found it to be very liberating. It's really helped me break down a lot of my control issues and kind of realizing like, well, I had a Caesar salad at a restaurant today. Well, if that is my biggest cheat, I don't even call it a cheat. I don't feel guilty the next day. I just get up the next day and I eat like I normally eat. So to have that kind of mentality and a clear head, I'm more focused. Like I said, I have higher energy. So I can now focus my time instead of researching recipes and, what's the next food going to be or what's the next meal, just I can spend that time reading or doing home projects or just continuing to work on myself, get some hobbies.
Yeah. So do you eat like higher protein, higher fat, or do you just, pay attention to that? Or
Honestly, I've really learned to listen to my body. So I don't eat until I'm hungry. So I don't do intermittent fasting. I just call it like intermittent feasting.
yeah.
If I get up in the morning and I'm hungry, then I eat. And if I get up in the morning and I'm not hungry until 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, then that's when I eat. And I generally eat a lot of the same things. So I would say I'm probably high protein, but I like to put butter on things. I cook everything in either tallow or bacon fat. I have one of those grease keepers for bacon, and I made it my mission to fill it. And I have now filled it twice, which means I eat a lot of bacon grease. So if I eat salmon, which is a fattier fish, I still add butter on top of it, and usually a tablespoon of butter. So I just kind of eat how I feel. I am one who never had good body awareness and ever listened to their body signals. And now if my body says, hey, you're full, okay, I just put the stuff in the refrigerator and, well, I know what I'm eating later, that stuff that's in the refrigerator.
That's great. So have you influenced anyone else to go carnivore? Is anyone in your family carnivore?
No, not anyone else in my family. My husband, he does eat a little bit more meat because, well, that's what's being served. But he still likes his ice cream. And my kids, actually, I will say this, my biggest win so far this year, my daughter is 9, and she had said that, oh, I'm a vegetarian. I just love animals. And for the longest time, I couldn't get her to eat anything other than eggs occasionally. And in the last few months, she's actually said, hey, can I try that? That's on your plate. And it was a steak. And I said, absolutely. And so now I'm trying to implement more meat into her diet. And I don't care how much she eats. She doesn't need to finish it. But I thought, oh my gosh, this is a huge win. So, and we've had our discussion about how I love animals too. I also love to eat them because that's why they're here. Right. This full of life conversation.
Awesome. Man, that is really good that you're being able to help her to get to eat more meat.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming and sharing your information and your story and your journey. It sounds like you had a wonderful outcome, and you think you'll continue on with carnivore?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why to stop at this point. I mean, I've been doing it long enough to where it's pretty much people know, oh, she's ordering meat. When I go out with friends, they go, oh, that's Zoe. She's got her meat coming. Yeah. And I do. And I sit there and they're always, oh, it looks so delicious. Well, you could have ordered it too. You know?
Right. You look fantastic. You really do. You look beautiful.
Thank you. Well, it's been a real honor to be asked. I honestly, when you first contacted me, I didn't take it seriously. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. I'll just respond and we'll see what happens. And then an email came and a follow-up private message, and I was like, oh wow, okay, I guess this is real. Yeah. Finally, someone actually wants to talk to me about my diet and actually wants to listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be watched and heard by many, many people. And everyone just loves listening to these success stories because they're all unique. They're real people eating the real human diet that we should eat.
Exactly.
It's a blessing. So
yeah, and that was my whole point when I put my 1 year on the World Carnivore Tribe. I generally am in the women's carnivore tribe just because it's more women and women only. But I thought a lot of people come to the World Carnivore Tribe because it is a public space. And that's why I put it there, because I thought it would have more of an outreach for people. Anyone who was interested, maybe they'd see. And you don't have to be in your 20s to start it. And yeah, so like I said, it's just been a real honor to be asked to do this. So thank you.
Awesome. Oh, you're so welcome. And I appreciate you coming, because we love doing this, and it'll be awesome for everybody to see. Thank you so much, Zoe.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.